Okay, so sorry, what I was saying earlier is basically this. So, where do I start? So there's this idea that how can you say it? Like the way that somebody else perceives you is like true for you. And that's what's really hard about being a girl and gossip and having like friends and stuff. And there's this idea that like all the people who are deserving and who are Christian, who are pretty, who are rich, they're all that because they're supposed to be. And if you're not, it's because you're not supposed to be, because like you're not godly or whatever the idea. There's these ideas and they're actually really like kind of pushed out into society in this weird way. And there's a lot of people who believe those sort of things. No, I don't want to be, I definitely personally don't believe that stuff. But also, lots of people do. And so what I'm trying to say about this like P. Diddy video is basically like there are girls who like, what does it mean to be a city girl? Like I get like the city girls are an actual musical group, right? They've got rap songs. They have their own perspective about like a whole bunch of shit. Like I get it. If you're a fan of the City Girls, the music group, I understand. There's a whole different thing though about being a girl who lives in the city. Like I live in a city, but that doesn't mean like not all city girls are the same. Not all girls who live in the city are similar or have similar, like the city is just a thing where there's like public transportation and there's like restaurants and there's like people from all over the world, and you know, there's like a lot of relationships and there's apartments and all those things, and there's people who live in like the suburbs or the country or whatever. And so there's all of these different things. Now the problem with black girls specifically is that so many of them have grown up in poverty and trauma porn that most of them don't have any relationship to like a suburban life, a country life, a simpler life where it's not really the city. And so they don't understand like kind of how things are supposed to be, like what traditional relationships look like. And we don't have enough like black conservatives. So we only have really like Candace Owens and what is her name, Amakunka, whatever, from the Daily Wire. Like those two girls are basically the only like black female conservative political commentators that we have that kind of are rationalizing the shit that's going on. And really, I feel like Candace Owens might be the only one who's actually talking about it from a black perspective, where she's like talking about Cardi B, she's talking about Kim Kardashian, she's talking about actual like other black people in the world and relating it to her own experience. But I also want to give some context there because I read something that was very strange. It was basically like, I guess maybe this is when Kim Kardashian went on the Jay Shetty podcast, I'm not positive. But it sounds like she's trying to make a point that like whatever Kanye West did is way worse for their children than her porn movie. That doesn't even make sense, and people really shouldn't follow that rationale. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like if one person shoots someone and another person stabs someone, neither of those crimes is better. They're just two criminals. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't compare stupid with stupider. And I feel like that's what she's trying to do. Like nobody forgot that Kim Kardashian was a porn star, and then nobody forgot that like Kanye West has been all over the internet dragging porn stars after he married one. Like all of it just doesn't make any sense. Like these people are not really good role models for like ethics or morality. But don't get me wrong, because I'm not detracting from their humanity. They're like humans, right? And now they're parents, but they're just not great humans. Like they're just not. And they can do like a ton of good shit. Like maybe they will go on and be better and do things that you admire, like some people. And so let's go back for a second to what Michael Knowles was saying, where he's having like an entire conversation with an actual porn star who's talking about like basically the reason that people who work in porn end up taking their lives. Now, I have legitimately talked about this so many times. Like I just do not think that like sex work, any work that has to do really with your like hypersexualizing yourself, is not good for black girls, just because like black women are already in this such a like dehumanized state that like I can't even describe it. Like so many little black girls are growing up like angry, they're traumatized, they don't have any of the experiences of like healthy relationships, like boyfriends, movies, food, dates, even like positive friendships. Everything is about like fighting and one-upping somebody, tearing somebody down. Nobody can grow in that type of environment. And I want to talk about this a little bit later because Mona Leo came out with an album, and I just want to unpack it and kind of give some space to it, just because I think it's like a really good project and I just appreciate her as an artist. But okay, so to even go back, so the thing that Michael Knowles was saying that I thought was like the most important, he was talking about how, especially for women who work in porn, that like other men will come to them and they'll say, you're shitty, you're not worth anything, you're worth nothing, oh, what you went through as a child is awful. And that's a thing. It's like a strategy that men use to like control women, to like tear them down. So they'll say like, you are nothing, you are average, you are ugly, oh, you did this, oh, you slept with, oh, body count, oh, the amount of money, oh, you're rich, oh, you're poor, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like I saw some interview where this old black guy is talking about how he thinks Ashanti is classy because she waited around for Nelly. Like, I'm sorry, but that's pathetic. Like, you shouldn't. Ashanti actually needs therapy and needs help. Like, many of the women in the black community need help. But like, really put this into context. These are two adult ass people who have been rich for a very fucking long time and dated and were in a healthy relationship. This nigga couldn't think in his mind to be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna marry this woman that I really like and who is literally my equal. No. What he said is, I'm gonna go fuck the whole world, and that's what he did. He trotted around with 20 and 30 other women for like 20 fucking years, and we've all been watching it. 20 years later, she still waited for this nigga? Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's really bad advice that nobody should follow. Like, that they are both awful role models, but I mean, they're here so we can unpack it, but don't look at that shit like it's good advice. If you want to know somebody who actually really loved someone, look at the letter that Jay-Z wrote to Beyonce when she was 17, and he said, I'm going to make you my wife. And then he made a conscious decision, and then he executed. And now we see the outcome of that. They're both billionaires. Nelly has one bottle of beer. Okay, like, that's the level, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in life. Like, that is really bad advice. It's really, really bad. Like, you should not follow. They are awful role models. Like I've said before, like, people pretty much know, people who have brains, basically, well, not people, men who have brains pretty much understand, like, by 22, if a man isn't married by 22, he probably is not worth shit. Like, that's just the reality of it. So I think you should probably just in your mind know that, like, I've been around a lot of people, with a lot of different people, with a lot of different, like, types of shit, okay? And, like, most of the people who have shit, they realize, like, okay, so when I'm, like, 18 and I have shit, the other people around me who have shit, we're gonna just keep having shit together, and then they have babies who also have things, and that's how the money gets transferred. That's how it works. So it's not, you're not gonna like one up and come here from like Mexico or Guatemala and then all of a sudden be like, oh, I married a billionaire. Like, that's not how it works. Like, there's lots of beautiful people who are already in America, and they also have money, and they have like culture, and they understand how economics works. They have like educations. Like, there are reasons that people are getting married and are not getting married and are having babies or not. There's all these different reasons. Everybody's different. But in this case, like, P. Diddy also makes a good, interesting point, I should say, in the video, where he's all like, I would take the condom off, but I don't trust her or something. Now, here's the thing, P. Diddy, like, y'all are really out here trying to make it seem like there are not an abundance of really quality women out here, and that there are not an abundance of quality men, because there are. A lot of people are just like, first of all, they're looking in the wrong places. Second of all, like, a lot of people can't identify good people. Like, every day there are people who go to work, people who are just, you know, women who are just in school, they're just like studying something, you know, whatever. And so some of these people, they come from poor families, some of them come from the developing world, some of them are wealthy. Like, there's a variety, but there are people out here, And so the rappers will have you out here thinking every single girl is a hoe, every girl is a thought, everybody is twerking and prostituting on the street. Like, be serious. I'm outside right now. I don't see a prostitute in sight. I don't see one. There ain't even one. So where are all these women? There's like 5, right? The rappers find like 3 examples of 3 girls who have did them wrong. Then they all make the same rap song. That is why I really appreciate Elizabeth, because like all the men targeted her. All of them. They all targeted her like a fucking lost puppy. They all went for it. And she is literally the victim. Literally. And still, she grew from that. And I feel like black women need to do better, because like some of those shitty ass niggas are some of y'all husbands. Like, y'all married those dirty niggers. Like, seriously. They did all this awful shit to her. She wrote a book about it. She went on tour on college campuses, all this shit. And here's what most of black women have to say about it. Fuck her, that hoe, that dirty hoe, blah, blah, blah. It takes 2 to tango. It takes 2 to fucking tango. And let's be straight here. Like, those niggas were throwing dollars at her, like quite a lot of fucking money, giving her all type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like her out here like chasing these dudes down. Oh, I'm trying to steal you from your wife. That's not what's happening here. Like, women are the prize. I think some of y'all are just confused. Like, now the funny thing about this is like the same counterculture and act badness that P. Diddy is like, you know, propagating to other people, and Carisha too. Like, the reason that I like Carisha is because she owns her badness. She's like Trina 2.0. She's like Trina 3.0. She's like the modern version of Trina. And for black women, we need that. We need bitches who like talk back, who have things to say. Oh God, of course it's gonna start to rain. Oh, we like desperately need that. Okay, I'm gonna go into the Starbucks. It's raining. I don't really feel like going home. But yeah, no, there's so much to say about this.